You know, we were supposed to do this cold open together, but Anthony Totri broke his toe on a recliner the other day, so he's actually questionable for this podcast. We're going to see if he pulls through right now.
It is a Victory Monday here. Welcome into the PHNX Sun Devils show, coming to you live from Studio K, presented by Circle K. Join Inner Circle for free by downloading that Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details. So what is up, Sun Devil Nation? We have a jam-packed show for everybody today. Do us a solid, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, drop a 5-star review wherever you get your podcast. I'm Anthony Totri, joined as always by NF. We got NF on today's podcast. We've got Captain Redbeard, also known as Kyle, behind the Mac. He is making all of the magic happen. We have a ton to get into today. We're going to take a quick look at Texas State. Obviously, tomorrow we're going to get into the weeds of what those Bobcats have on their football team. We're going to get into what Kenny Dillingham had to say at his weekly press conference. Definitely some interesting things. But, Erik, we are going to start off the show talking about the man of the weekend, the National AP Player of the Week, the Big 12 Offensive Player of the Week, your Arizona State running back, Cam Skattebo. My goodness. Look, we saw and we talked a lot about what this kid did on Saturday against Mississippi State, but just seeing the national respect that is finally starting to be shown towards Scat. I mean, I don't know if there's a dude on this team more deserving than Scat.
No, he is without a doubt the best player in the country for this week. I mean, listen, he put this team on his back. There is absolutely no 2-0 without Cam Skattebo.
No.
There's no chance that they were able to even hang in this game without Cam Skattebo. I mean, almost 300 all-purpose yards, 262 on the ground. You will go back and you watch some of the highlights from that, man. He was just brutalizing an SEC team. I mean, taking them down. They were bouncing off of him. There were so many plays where you thought, oh, you know, he just gained his 5. Just a casual 5. And then 2 seconds later, he's like 11 yards down the field. And you're like, what's going on? 93 of those yards coming in the fourth quarter. I mean, I would say you can't say enough about Cam Skattebo, but I feel like if you just talk for an entire episode, that's probably saying enough about him.
I mean, I think that's totally fair. We obviously went a long time, hour and a half on our post-game show.
That was a fun one.
It was a fun one.
If you missed it, it's still evergreen right now. Go back. We reacted to the win. We gave out some awards. We both spent a minute antagonizing Colorado and Arizona. It was a good time.
I mean, overall, when we're talking about Scat, right, I think at the start of the season, there were a lot of people that were talking about the Big 12 running backs as a whole, because there's some pretty dominant running backs in this conference. Ollie Gordon, obviously, at Oklahoma State, widely considered one of, if not the best running back in the nation. And after 2 weeks, there isn't a running back that has more rush yards in the Big 12 than Cam Skattebo.
No, it's a very deep conference for running backs, for sure. But it's by no means a stretch to say that Cam Skattebo has outplayed Ollie Gordon through 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think numbers reflect it.
I think RJ Harvey out of UCF is having
a remarkable start to the year.
What, 6 touchdowns?
I believe so.
I think he has 6 touchdowns. That's the only stat that Scat is a little bit lower on, but if you actually watch the game, you understand why. He could have had a touchdown at the end of the game there. He sealed the game anyway. Leavitt was able to push one in at the 1-yard line. That easily could have been Scat's touchdown. He's the one who got them there as well. So, you know, you can't just look at touchdowns, but he's definitely been a top 2 back in this conference through 2 weeks. You can argue he's number 1. He was the best player in the country, according to the AP this week, following up another local product the week beforehand. So there we go. We match him 1 for 1. It's just exciting stuff, Totri. And it's exciting for us as, you know, we cover the team and as we're alumni and for fans, but it's also really exciting on a personal level to see Cam get this type of recognition because his journey, this isn't some 5-star dude who had all these offers and just decided to go to Arizona State. This is the definition of earned it, of worked your way up and got it.
Not only has he worked toward the position that he's put himself in now, but he's also, because of what he has been capable of over the last couple of weeks, he's put Arizona State in the spotlight, right? The Sun Devils still haven't received a vote in the AP Top 25 yet. I still believe that if Arizona State starts 3-0 in non-con, I think they start getting votes in that AP Top 25. But regardless, Scat has solidified himself as the guy when you're talking about Arizona State. And we knew all camp, we knew all spring that this was going to be a run-first team. I don't think we truly realized just how much of an impact him slimming down was going to have.
Dude.
Kenny Dillingham talked today just in terms of like what Scat does on a day-to-day basis to make sure that his body is right and he's set himself up to be able to play, and not just play, but be able to take 33 carries and a few catches and then just say, hey, my toe's a little sore today. Like the transformation has been remarkable.
He was ready to go another quarter.
He was.
He did not look winded. I guarantee you if he said, hey, we got overtime, you're going to hand the ball to Scat a bunch of times.
At least 6 more times.
Again, 93 of those yards coming in the fourth quarter of a brutal game where he had, he surpassed his high as a Sun Devil with like 5 minutes to go in the first half.
Yeah.
Okay, that's how much this dude was getting fed the ball against, there we go, an SEC-sized team. That, by the way, just a quick throw in here. None of this happens without the offensive line.
Correct.
You go back and you watch the film from this game. The trenches were dominated by ASU on both sides of the ball. But back to Scat. He was not only remarkable because you slim down, you're able to carry that type of workload, right? But you're able to do it coming off of a week where you didn't get that, where maybe you could say you weren't in a rhythm, right? You're coming into week 2, a better opponent. You hit the ground running, literally and figuratively. And what continues to impress me is not only did he slim down, but does he feel a little stronger than last year?
I don't know if he feels stronger. Kenny mentioned today that part of the reason why Scat is able to take the ball 30 plus times a game and be fine is because he plays at such a remarkable pad level that, again, if you've played football before, if you've been around football before, it's always, quote, low man wins. Mm-hmm. And, at certain positions, yes, being bigger helps. Being the size that Scat is with the force that he runs with, it helps him be able to inflict contact as opposed to receiving it. So yeah, he's going to have bumps and bruises like Kenny said today, but because he plays at such a low pad level, he's not feeling every single one of those blows. He's dishing it out. Well,
and I think, to me, why he seems stronger is because it does feel like guys are just literally bouncing off of him. Yeah. It was one of the first runs of this Mississippi State game where guys were just going at him and just boom. And the chat's bringing it up as well to my point with the offensive line. They're saying wide receiver blocking helps as well from Glenn and from Short Bus. Do you remember what we heard about Jordan Tyson all camp?
That he was one of, if not the best pass blocking wide receivers on the team.
Yeah. And I think that kind of goes to show not only will you show up in whatever way a regular, just regular receiver number 1, Jordan Tyson, as he presumably is, but you're also going to get down and dirty. And that's what the game called for, right? And all of that works together, but it works together because of Scat.
Yeah.
Right. And if you don't have somebody like that back there, you're not having somebody put up 300 all-purpose yards. But he seems slimmer, faster. To me, he seems a little bit stronger. And yeah, he's got a really low pad level. He's a very smart player. It never feels like he makes the wrong read. I feel like he attacks the right hole every single time. He knows exactly where he needs to go. He knows exactly what his offensive line is doing, what is being set up. And even on receiving routes as well, they're very short routes. But when he scans the field, he knows where to go.
Yeah.
And he knows, hey, I'm going to power through this guy. I'm going to get around this guy. I can beat him there. And this is all happening in a split second. And that is how you get a special type of running back in Cam Skattebo. And you can add him to the list, man. Like, you can add him to the list of ASU running backs, the great ones. Second highest single rushing yard performance in ASU school history besides Eno's 312.
Yeah. I think, the word that sticks out there is special. Right, is Cam Skattebo is a special player. Obviously, the entire nation looking at him. And then Short Bus in the chat, we got Raleek coming back this week. So excited to watch him. Been waiting all offseason. Now you figure you throw a guy like him in, and a guy that a lot of people have been saying, hey, Raleek is your scat back. Obviously, you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
He's quick. He's the guy that you're sending out of the backfield. Great for screens. Great for pre-snap motions. Again, something that we saw a lot of in spring ball and in the spring game is Raleek is not afraid to run through somebody. He's not afraid at all. And part of having a stable of running backs for me in Kyson Brown and Scat and DeCarlos and Raleek and McCaskill and Jason Brown is when you get to the fourth quarter for a team like Arizona State, and you see it in the NFL a lot, a team in Arizona State that their identity is we are going to run the football. You're going to know that we're running the football, and it doesn't really matter to us. And the reason they do that, the reason that we're handing it off on 1st and 10 every time, or it's 2nd and 8 and we're still running the football, is so that when you get to the fourth quarter and those interior defensive linemen are gassed and those linebackers have taken hit after hit after hit, that's when you get those big bursts from this running back room because you have so many fresh legs, but because you have a guy like Scat who is easily one of the least desired tackable running backs to go against in the fourth quarter, like it makes it a pain in the butt if you are a defense in the fourth quarter and you are trailing Arizona State, knowing that you have to get off the field. And if you want to get off the field, you got to find a way to take 4 down. And at this point in the season, I know it's just been 2 games. There hasn't been a team as of right now that says, you know what, in the fourth quarter, we're going to buckle up and we're going to take Quattro down because they just simply can't do it.
No, you can't do it. You don't just make the decision to take Cam Skattebo down. It takes about 8 of you to do that. Right. And I think you talk about Raleek. I think DeCarlos, I've said it in both games that we've been at. I just looked at you. I'm like, man, he is just the perfect counter to Cam.
Yeah.
And you have depth in that room. And listen, Cam touched the ball 36 times. It's between receptions and rushing attempts as well. He's not going to get that every single game. He's not. You're not going to touch the ball 36 times every single game. I think you're going to be high 20s. Most of it, but we saw it in week 1. If the game plan doesn't call for it, then the love's going to be spread out, right? But what I love is that, in games where maybe Raleek or DeCarlos or Kyson, they get into their rhythm, right? They start to kind of find little chunks and pick up yards here and there, and you save 4, 5, 6 touches from Cam at the first half, second half of the game. When you said it gets tight, whether you're trying to come back, because it's not like handing the ball off to Cam, you're going to get 2-3 yards. You 7.9 yards per carry last game.
Crazy.
Right? On 33 attempts. You have a fresher Cam. And listen, we don't want to get to the point where, like at the end of last season, obviously a lot going on, but he was exhausted.
I mean, he was the best punter on this team. He was playing quarterback. He was catching passes.
That's what I'm saying is you're not going to get to that point, but I also don't want to get to the point where it's 36 touches a game. I think it's 36 touches when it demands it. I'm just hoping that this offense is more well-rounded to the point where it doesn't demand that every single game.
If it demands 36 touches to win the game, then it demands 36 touches to win the game.
And that's fine. And I think that's great. But I do think that's something that will rear its head a couple weeks in.
Maybe.
And again, it's nothing against Cam, nothing against anybody on this team. I think that's just life. That's just football, right? Like you're just going to get hit and 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 hit. And, you don't want to put him in that position. And I think that's why it's so nice that you have this depth around him, because it allows him to get a much needed break when he needs to. But you also have your number one guy that if you need to call his number, you're calling his number and it's going to work.
Yeah. And again, we'll continue talking about this, but the note I kind of want to leave on at least what we saw last week and what this kind of does is when we talk about Cam Skattebo, we obviously talk about the offensive line. We talk about what Scat brings as an individual player. But what we don't talk a lot about is what this does for Sam Leavitt as a young quarterback, right? So you know that Cam Skattebo is the guy on this team. So if you're the defense, you're obviously game planning to stop number 4, right? You're going to load the box. You are going to ensure that if Arizona State is going to beat you, they're going to have to beat you with their redshirt freshman quarterback, Sam Leavitt. Well, through 2 weeks, week 1, Sam had a pretty solid game. Right? Everything was kind of working. The defense flowed. You didn't really have to count on Scat a whole lot, or you didn't have to count on Sam too much. Now you go to week 2 and you see Mississippi State. You see the stat line, obviously, from Sam Leavitt. You watch the game. Kenny talked about it post-game. Tough for him to really get in a rhythm when you're handing the ball off 33 times. At a certain point in the season, you're going to see a team that is committed, unlike Mississippi State with the disrespectful 3-man front, which
insane.
I had texts from players on other teams around the country tell me it is wild for Mississippi State to run a 3-man front against Scat. There's just no way you're going to be able to do it because he makes at least one man miss every single time. So let's say it is the Texas State game where you do see a loaded box for the entirety of the game. Well, what does that do? Oftentimes, if you are loading a box with that many guys, you're probably sending pressure in that front. Then you might be in man coverage. You could be sitting in a soft zone. Sam Leavitt can sit back there, a smart quarterback who understands the offense, can also move, right? That is going to open up and make life so much easier for him because you're going to have defenses that they just are going to want to stop for.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be night and day. There will be a game, I guarantee it, where Sam Leavitt looks like the second coming. You just have to give it some time.
Yeah, and we talked about that in our post-game show. I'm not worried about Sam at all. There are definitely things he needs to clean up. He needs to be better at. I think he would tell you that. I think Kenny would tell you that. I think you would tell me that if you watch the game. It's not a secret, right? But he was born in 2004, and that's just something that you kind of have to take in and say, listen, he's played 2 college football games. Really, he won both of those games, scored touchdowns in both of those games, and if you swap the results as far as stat lines go, you'd be talking about how amazing it is that he improved. Right? Those 2 games still matter and they still exist. Diego says, do you guys think Scat's going to the NFL?
Yes.
Even if he doesn't get drafted, yes.
Also,
he will get drafted.
Was Diego the one that gave us a super chat on Saturday?
I don't know. We totally forgot somebody's super chat. If you are in here, you don't have to super chat again unless you want to say something else. Say that was you. Tell us what your message was, and we will read it. You don't have to pay for another super chat. We're so sorry about that. We got carried away with an hour and a half.
Movie. It was a movie.
It literally was a movie, right? And we're sorry about that. We are sorry. I think Glenn says, we don't know if Scat won't have another game like that. Dilly is shown to say, let's see if you could stop it first. Otherwise, we're going to keep doing it. Oh, I would probably say I would take the over on will Cam have more touches than that in a game this season.
Yeah.
I would say yes. I just don't want that every single week because then you do become kind of a one-trick pony unless it just works.
If it just works, it works. I mean, you run the football and you play good defense. That works in the SEC.
And as long as he can take it, and maybe he slimmed down, and maybe that's the difference, right? Maybe it's not a matter of, Cam last year got worn down and I don't want that to happen again this year. That's probably why he slimmed down, right? If you want to give him the ball 36 times a game and he doesn't get tired, like the fatigue slider is just off, just let me know. Just do it.
Glenn in the chat, how is Texas State's rushing defense? We will get into that the tail end of the show, I promise. Diego also in the chat saying, yeah, it was me. Diego, we appreciate the super chat.
We do.
And again, we are totally sorry that we missed that.
Won't happen again.
Erik, I'm going to put you on the spot here.
Me?
I'm going to put you on the spot.
Oh, brother.
There's a committee. here.
The committee.
The committee is here. You have 60 seconds to stare into that camera and give me Cam Skattebo's Heisman Trophy speech. Or I guess... what's the word?
His case.
His case.
I'm arguing his case.
Yeah.
Okay. Give me a countdown.
Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Just watch the game. Watch Arizona State, Mississippi State. See what happens when Cam Skattebo has the ball in his hands. 297 all-purpose yards. Oh, you want it to stay? Oh, it doesn't have the touchdown. Oh, he could have. He could have had it. He absolutely could have had it, but you know what? He's an unselfish player. And how the heck does an unselfish player, somebody who's team first, put up 297 all-purpose yards in one game against an SEC defense? A game that people were doubting. They were doubting if Arizona State could handle the size. Cam Skattebo sat down after the game, said, I love it when I go against 300-pound behemoths and I just hand it to them. I run through their mouth. Watch the tape. He runs through. He runs around. He runs across. He will disintegrate somebody, and he will do it with a smile on his face, right? And he'll do it the right way, the smart way, and he's only getting better. So if you don't believe me after week 2, go ahead and believe me after week 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Like we're having the same conversation, but you might want to look smart and just get your vote in now and understand that he is a Heisman.
There you go, man. I love it.
On the spot.
I absolutely love it.
I should be a lawyer.
You should be.
I should be like an impromptu lawyer. Hey, this is the case, go. No prep, nothing. Just let me rip.
I wouldn't have you defend me.
Oh.
Yeah.
In the case of Anthony Totri versus his recliner.
Stop it.
Anthony Totri sues the recliner for toe damages.
It was my fault. It was a red light.
Dude, bro, come on.
I know.
I'm defending you.
Yeah, well, I didn't hire you.
If you missed the cold open because you're listening on audio, Totri lost a battle with a recliner and broke his toe.
It won viciously.
It looks pretty ugly.
Yeah,
but you know what? You are a trooper. Your podcasting hurt. They say this is a safe industry.
I was questionable for this performance. I was questionable.
They say this is a safe industry. This is an industry for people who don't like to go outside. But look at that.
Yeah.
He's podcasting with a broken toe.
Yeah,
Kevo says, I'd hire Erik. And that, Kevo, is why I appreciate you.
Oh, goodness. Look, we are going to get into what Kenny Dillingham had to say at his opening press conference this week. But first, we are going to take a quick break. And we're going to tell you about our friends over at Sanderson Ford. PHNX is a proud company to have Sanderson Ford as our official vehicle partner. Sanderson Ford giving you big payoffs like 0% financing on the new 2024 F-150, the Escape, the Edge, the Explorer, the Expeditions when you go to Sanderson Ford. And I say not if, I say when you go to Sanderson Ford. Highly encourage you guys to make sure you got a couple hours, spend some time around that entire facility. It is a 65-acre facility, makes them the largest Ford dealership in the nation. What do they have on that 65-acre facility? Well, first off, they got a diner with great prices. So if you're there from breakfast to lunch, you can definitely get some good, affordable food. And then, of course, they've got a ton of different options on cars, whether it be that Ford F-150, the Escape, the Edge, the Explorer, the Expedition, or my personal favorite, the 2024 Ford Bronco Sport Big Bend. They've got it all, including some phenomenal customer service as well. Shop the Sanderson Ford playoff payoff sale with no hassle, no pressure, and no nonsense. Football is back, and so are the deals at Arizona's largest Ford dealership, Sanderson Ford. See dealer for details.
Oh, don't mind me. Just on the Game Time app, looking for tickets. I got some tickets secured for a birthday gift for somebody through Game Time. Only reason I was able to afford it is because of Game Time's prices. It was such an easy thing and process to go through. They filter out all the fluff. They show you the tickets that you want, the tickets that you need. They also give you a view from the seat, and they're going to guarantee you that lowest price. If you find a lowest price, they'll match it 110%. I'm now looking for a second concert this month. I would love to go see Childish Gambino at the Footprint Center on September 16th. Would want to see that for sure. I'm looking for the right price. I'm looking for the right deal. That's what I was just doing.
Pretty cool
on the Game Time app. If you want to come with, brother, you're more than welcome to come
I'll hold
with.
you to that.
They have all. I'm not buying your ticket. You can buy it on Game Time, but you can come with. We can ride together. They have their ticket coverage as well. They have the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry, and you can take all the guesswork out of buying tickets, just like I did with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code PHNX for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply, but again, create an account, redeem code PHNX for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Simple question. What time is it?
It's game time.
It's game time.
Captain Redbeard.
It's game time.
I love it. Absolutely love it. Look, we are going to get into what Kenny Dillingham had to say at his opening press conference. Captain Kyle, we are good with those videos, correct? We're working on them. Okay. So Kenny today, it just in terms of the vibe, the energy, and again, you'll see it here in just a little bit. This is a guy that is already a passionate individual. He's already an energetic individual. And this team faced some serious adversity in the last 13, 14 minutes of this game, which is, again, something that we talked about on the post game. It's something that Kenny Dillingham had said that he wanted his team to see. And this team showed up. They showed out. And immediately it is you celebrate, you enjoy for hour and a half.
Yeah.
And then you're on to Texas State, right? Because this is a team in Texas State that is going to bring it. This is a team as good as any team that Arizona State has faced to this point, regardless of them not being a Power 4 team. They are in the Sun Belt. But this is a team that is built to outrun you. And I don't mean like physically on the ground. This is a team that when you think of, let's say, Arizona State basketball, for example. If you're an ASU basketball fan, you know that Bobby Hurley's teams push the pace, right? They are going to spread the floor, and they are just going to see if you can outrun or if you can run with them. This team in Texas State, they've got a high-powered offense, okay? This is a team in Texas State that is going to hang around because that's what they do. They are 2-0 for a reason. Played UTSA. They played Lamar. And again, those schools aren't just, they don't pop off the screen, but this Texas State offense can keep up with Big 12 teams. I said it. Kenny Dillingham has said it. This is going to be a tough test for Arizona State. Erik, are you, and I know this is something that people have talked about really going into this game for a while now, is that this is a quote-unquote trap game.
Yeah.
Do you feel like this is a trap game for Arizona State?
No. Because there's no trap game when you're still proving yourself. This is not a team that can rest on their laurels. This is not a team that can go and say, well, we were really good last year, really good through 2 games. Let's look ahead to Texas Tech.
Yeah.
That's just not the position this team is in, and I think they know it. I know Kenny Dillingham knows it, and I think the players know it as well. This is not just, oh, la-di-da. This is Troy. You're not playing Troy, okay? You're playing a really good team. You're playing a good team. Glenn in the chat says this is Texas State's Super Bowl, right? You're playing a team that is good. You're not playing somebody where you can just look at it and say, ugh. Like, they're good.
Yeah.
They will beat you. Like, this team, and I'm sure this is exactly what Kenny Dillingham is telling all of his players. You're better than this team, but they sure as heck can beat you. Texas State, not easily, but we could very much be sitting here on Thursday night and Texas State could win. Like, it's definitely a possibility. I wouldn't put my money on it. I wouldn't predict that, but it's certainly something that could happen. And for that reason alone, I do not believe that this is a trap game. Because to me, a trap game is when you're on way opposite ends of the spectrum, right? Super winning team.
I hear that.
Super losing team.
Yeah.
But short week, I guess you could throw all that stuff in there as well.
I think when we talk about trap games, and I know it's something that people talk about in college football across the Power 4, all these conferences, and you see big teams lose to quote-unquote little teams, right? That's the idea of a trap game. You look too far in advance. Arizona State opens Big 12 play next week after Texas State on the road. So there's the idea that you're looking past this opponent coming off, 2 big wins, a historic win for Arizona State. For me, this isn't a trap game for the idea that this is a team in Arizona State that it really is a next play mentality. And I don't mean that on a literal basis of next play, next drive, next game. I mean this in the idea that this is a team in what Kenny Dillingham has tried to build over the last couple of seasons, in the sense that this is a team that isn't satisfied with what they just did, right? It's not a like, oh, we've got X, Y, and Z to clean up. Yes, they do. But this is a team that is already, in the grand scheme of things, past certain people's expectations.
Yes.
Right? So the idea that this would be a trap game, Arizona State looking past to Texas Tech, is more of a fan and media thought process behind this entire thing, right? Is because, this is a
why
team
wouldn't
that,
they?
Yeah, why wouldn't
It's
they?
Arizona
right?
State. If you just look at it on paper, it's Arizona State and it's Texas State.
Yeah.
You would pick Arizona State to win.
Yeah. That's not the way that this team is built identity-wise. I think there's a lot of Arizona State fans, like we talked about on the postgame show, that have a sour taste in their mouth from a previous regime, just in terms of what a quote-unquote trap game means, right? Eastern Michigan a couple years ago, right? That was the team, right? Eastern Michigan.
Yeah, that was the team.
That was a trap game.
That was a team that made you have on-field conversations.
It was a trap game. I mean, Ray got let go, or not Ray. Herm got let go.
That
right
was
after
when
that
was when Ray and Crow were at the game
and they fired Herm on the field.
On the field, yeah, they didn't fire him on the field, but they certainly had a talking to him.
It is those types of cultures and programs are what keep trap games alive.
Mm-hmm.
This is not that team. This is not that
We
program.
don't think.
It's not.
We-
Not that I don't think. This isn't.
I need to, like, I 100% agree with you. Don't get me wrong.
Like
Don't get me wrong. I really want to see it. Because listen, this is also the team that after week 1, I said this is a team that doesn't get in their own head. This is a team that doesn't really make those types of mistakes. And for 15 minutes, 20 minutes on Saturday, they were that team.
Yeah.
Right? And that's fine because guess what? They didn't break. They just bent. And that's great. They bounce back. They put the game away. I'm so high on this team. I'm high on everything that they do. I'm high on the coaching staff. I'm high on the players, as we've said it. I have not predicted a loss. I'm not predicting a loss this week. I will not step on my actual score prediction, but I don't think that this is going to happen. But what I'm saying is I need to see on the field this team go out there on Thursday and prove it. Prove that they are not that team that looks over their opponent. Prove they are not the one that rests on their laurels, because I think they did that in week 2, but those are 2 games. That is a small sample size, right? I need to see it against a team that is good on the road on a short week. Those are 3 really big factors that if they go in and they dominate on Thursday, there's no questions. This team should be getting AP top 25 votes.
Yeah.
This team should be scaring a lot of the Big 12, and it's a lot better than what a majority of the people thought they would be. I believe that right now, but in order for me to believe that as 100% fact and not just belief, I need to see it happen.
I think that's fair. Again, there are a lot of factors that go into this game, whether that be the fact that you are on a short week. There's fatigue for a lot of players, whether it be that this is a team that, is still riding high in 2-0, not Arizona State, Texas State, right? And again, the idea that nobody has mentioned it really yet, that this is an opportunity for Arizona State to match its win total from last season in 3 weeks.
Oh man, we were getting a little crap from Damon Dog, People's producer, U of A alum, in our post game when we were just you kind of hit me with that. Arizona State has 66.7% of its wins from last season in 2 weeks. Like, oh, calm down. It's like, dude, I'm not celebrating 2 wins, but you have to admit that get this, the dichotomy of that
Words
is exquisite.
Oh wow. I mean,
talk about,
well done, buddy. Well
that's
done.
a hearty sentence.
Look,
right there.
this is a team that's going to face a lot of adversity. Okay. It's just the fact of the matter. It's what they're going to do. It's what they've already did against Mississippi State. Kenny Dillingham was asked at his weekly press conference about the adversity that his team faced and really what it means moving forward.
We're not going to just, have a knockout or knock somebody down 4 times again like we did the first 6 quarters of football, really 7 quarters almost of football, have been pure domination on our standpoint. And we're not going to have that. Like, I would love to say we will, and I hope we do, but it's not real. Like, it's not real. We're going to face a team that starts fast like us, and we're going to have to be able to go back and forth throughout the floor of the game. And we got to be able to control the emotion. We got to be able to handle it. And we got to be able to respond with the emotional highs and lows of the game. And that's what I was proud of last night. Or I haven't really slept last night, whatever night it is. The other day was we eventually snapped out of it. And a lot of teams can't snap out of it. We, not our coaches, I didn't say a word. I just told a couple players, go get your team together, get them to snap out of it. And they did. Boom. And that's the sign. It's a very good sign for our football team, the direction we're going.
Yeah, that was the biggest thing besides Cam. The biggest thing from the Mississippi State win was that you saw them get in a funk and then you saw them get out of it. Like Kenny said, you snap out of it. And there are teams from this school in the past that would not happen. Once the momentum shifted, it was over. It didn't matter. There were teams that in that situation on Saturday would have crumbled and lost Mississippi State without
no doubt.
Without a doubt. And that plays so well going into Texas State because this game's not going to be easy. Glenn said it in the chat. Heard it'll be high 80s with 40% humidity, which is equivalent to 102 degrees. The same reason that when a visiting school comes here, our heat is an advantage. It's a different type of heat out there. 80 with 40% humidity is a situation that these players have not been practicing in. It's their first road game, and they're not going to play a perfect game, and they're going to have a moment where they get punched in the mouth, and where Texas State's going to have the momentum. And what we need to see is the same way that they were able to snap out of it and respond in game number 2, they need to do in game number 3. Different environment, a lot easier to snap out of it when you're at home, right? When you look around and the fans are cheering for you.
Yeah.
You're back against the wall in Texas State, man. You don't want to go to San Marcos. You don't want to have your back against the wall in San Marcos, okay? No, listen, I think they're going to do good. I believe in them. I just really want to see it. And if they do end up following these trends in through week 3, then we won't be the only ones having conversations about this team like we have been for the last 12 months.
If this team, again, finds a way to be resilient and come out on top, which I think they will.
Agreed.
Then, yes, the national respect and recognition is going to continue. You know what I love most about that soundbite from Kenny?
Please tell me.
Is him mixing up the days because he so tired already.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you want from your coach, right? Tell me that's not what you want from your coach. A guy that literally doesn't remember what day it is because he is, the moment that game ended on Saturday, has turned on the film and is trying to break down what his team can improve on, what Texas State is doing. Like, that's your coach. That's your Arizona State football coach. And I can say with confidence, the last regime did not have that.
No.
Did not have that at all. We were talking about recess at a certain point for no reason.
Hey, no, but hey.
Stop
hey,
it. Stop
hey,
it. Stop it.
You know what I'm going to say.
Stop it.
Do you know what I'm going to say?
Recess is elite.
No. That's not what I was going to say at all.
I mean, recess is elite.
I mean, it was. I mean, yes.
Go ahead.
Here's the thing that you don't understand. Herm would get up really early. He would get up really early, like 4 a.m.
So does everybody else in college football.
No, see, that was my favorite thing is how they tried to spin that into some like magic
like he's the
story.
only one.
Well, dude, they did the same thing with Cliff Kingsbury on the Cardinals.
Oh, my
like
God.
A day in the life of Cliff Kingsbury. This coach is so dedicated to winning that he gets up at 4 a.m. to get a lift in. No, I want my coach going to bed at 4 a.m. because he couldn't put the tape away.
Yeah.
It's like, no,
that's your coach.
No more tape, Kenny. Go to bed.
That's the Arizona State coach.
Yeah, it's completely different. It's completely different, and that's why I'm sitting here again. Old regime, I would say this was a trap game.
Yeah.
I would 100% say this was a trap game under Herm Edwards.
Yeah,
without a doubt. But against Kenny, no. This is just a good challenge.
It is a good challenge.
It's the perfect week 3 opponent. I'm going to see how long I can keep that going.
We're going to see how long you can keep it up.
I'm not BSing though. Like I genuinely believe that.
Well, let's see what Kenny Dillingham has to say about those Texas State Bobcats.
This is the best football team we've played. These guys play hard. Like, they play hard. You watch the tape, these guys, they play with passion. They play with a chip. They're explosive. They're really good with the ball in their hand. We have to be fresh. We have to be healthy, and we have to be fundamentally sound.
That is some serious praise.
Yeah.
And really, in the entire 27-minute press conference was a lot of praise for Texas State, their run game, Texas State's coaching staff, and really what they are trying to build at Texas State. But to sit there and call them the best team that they faced thus far, again, is a further testament to what those Bobcats are, considering you just played an SEC team.
Yeah.
You've played a Wyoming team that won 9 games just a year
ago. They're
ago.
not looking too great this year, though.
Still, a year removed from,
I know.
And they weren't 100%
and they dominated.
healthy.
And they dominated. And that's the thing. And they dominated.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is tough to do. I don't care who you're playing.
Especially coming off of last season.
Yeah.
Right? It's not something to sneeze at all.
He also said that he believes that Texas State is a Power 4 team. Like, this is a team that could play in the Big 12 and win multiple games against quality opponents. That, again, goes to show that you have a coach that is not looking past the current opponent in front of him, is not looking to the next meal. He's looking on what's on his plate right now.
Listen, even if Kenny was playing Troy, he'd be prepared. And if you asked him a question and you said, hey, what do they do well? He'd give you a 15-minute answer about all the things that they do well. Right. Like,
yeah.
This is somebody that he will find whatever way his opponent's going to beat him, and he will highlight it, and he will make sure that they are ready and addressed for that problem.
Yeah.
And this Texas State team, we'll get into in the next segment, their strengths match up well against Arizona State's strengths for Texas State.
Yeah.
Right. It's not like, oh, wow, there's this one lacking place from Texas State. Arizona State is just that's their powerhouse. Right. So we'll get into that. But, just give me to Thursday. I'm so excited.
That's
I'm
the
glad.
nice thing about a short week is you get to watch your team in just a couple of days.
And then you get a Saturday just to watch college football.
To indulge.
Yeah, I know you. You're gonna go sicko mode.
I am going to sit there. I'm going to buckle up.
You're gonna ice your toe.
Toe's going to be elevated, iced, and we're just going to have a day.
You're just gonna
We're
have a day.
absolutely have a day. You brought up the matchups, right, a little bit already. Texas State's got some strengths. Well, Arizona State's strength is running, to quote Marshawn Lynch, to run through a blank face, right? And Arizona State is going to
Through a Taylor Swift
punch you in the mouth.
blank face.
They're
Blank face.
going to run the football, sometimes 50 times a game, with their stable of backs and their quarterback, and they don't care who knows it. Kenny Dillingham talked about playing to ASU's strength at his press conference.
We established a run at such a level that, we're going to be able to throw the ball. Like, I can say it in a press conference or not. It doesn't matter. Like, we're going to be able to throw the ball on early downs now because they're going to have to stack the box. Like, you have to. Whether they watch the same film as us, like, we have to be able to throw the ball on early downs. In a football game, teams are going to take away what they feel is our strength. We know that. So we're prepared for that. And if a team doesn't want to take away our strength, then we'll just keep playing to our strength, right? So it doesn't even matter that I say it. Like, we all watch the same film. We all see it, whether they hear the interview or not. We're going to run the ball, but we need to throw the ball better on early downs. And if they let us run it, we're going to keep running it.
I mean, they showed in week 1 they have counters.
Yeah.
Right? They used the entire running back room. Sam Leavitt was throwing, rolling out of the pocket, running. Like they had the weapons. And then game 2, Mississippi State said, hey, here, Cam Skattebo, would you like a first down? Would you like another one?
Front is crazy.
Right. And downright disrespectful, to be honest with you. Right. But if their goal was, we're going to take away everything else and just make Cam Skattebo beat us. Wrong choice. Wrong choice. But still a choice that some are probably going to make. Right. You think, oh, well, he's not going to get 300 all-purpose yards. For those listening on audio, I just turned to the camera dramatically. Yeah, they showed that if you let them play to their strength, they will, but also that they can adapt. I love what I've seen as far as the offensive play calling from this team through 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Now, there were some moments near the end of the game against Mississippi State where there were a couple plays where I was like, but nothing egregious and nothing like completely out of the ordinary. And at the end of the day, they won.
Yeah,
right.
That's all that matters.
So I'm very interested to see with this Texas State team exactly what they're going to counter with, because I'm sure Texas State's going to play a completely different brand of defense than Mississippi State did.
Infamous front runner in the chat. What's up with this shirt with the state of Texas on it?
Texas to Tempe.
There you go. It's alluding to the whole Texas to Tempe pipeline that they're trying to establish. And again, Arizona State playing on the road in the state of Texas, not just this week, but obviously next Saturday as well, opening up Big 12 play on the road against Texas Tech. If I'm Arizona State, though, and I'm Kenny Dillingham, and you're looking at what you have in front of you, you have a Texas State team that is better than the nation thinks as a whole, better than where they're at in the Sun Belt Conference. And on the other side of it is a 9-day break between this game and Texas Tech. You got to push through being sore, being tired, the physical stuff so that you can get on track mentally. Kenny talked about it today, just in terms of like, hey, it's a short week. And yes, the physical stuff, you don't have to get the same amount of work in, but mentally, you have to get the same amount of work in, the same amount of hours in. So it is a little bit of a grind over the next few days for the Sun Devils to get there. But then you get 9 days for Texas Tech, and then you get a bye week. Then you get a bye week before Kansas in your next home game, which is going to play a massive role. So if you talk, again, we're going down the line just a little bit, and we could do this, not the team. 3-0. 9 days to get healthy to face a poo-poo defense at Texas Tech, and then a whole week off before you have to go prep for a Kansas team that didn't look great last week. Everything is setting up really. It's the schedule is it couldn't have fallen more beautiful right now, but yes, you're right. This game is key to what the next couple hold.
Yeah, that's going to change everything. If this is a win, then you're setting yourself up really, really nice to try to get 4 in a row.
Yeah.
And then you're going and you're playing a team that was ranked in the AP top 25, a team that was picked to be at the top of the Big 12. And that's a big deal.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. But here's the thing. You got to get through this Thursday first.
You do.
Right. You have to get through this Thursday. You got to go to San Marcos and you have to win. I know that people they think it's not, don't play at Texas State. I don't care. I'm glad they're going on the road. I'm glad they're going to be tested. I'm glad this is a hard game because I don't want them to just have easy wins. And
say with your chest.
I don't want people to just say like, oh, well, it's just easy. Like imagine if they played New Mexico and NAU back to back and they dominated them. Arizona fans would be saying it doesn't even matter. Oh, blah, blah, blah. No, they're playing good competition and they're winning. I want them to continue that trend. I want everybody to look at what happened and say, wow, look at what they overcame. I want them to beat the brakes off of Texas State.
Yeah.
And I want them to do it in such convincing fashion that you don't care it was a short week. You don't care it was a Thursday afternoon game, right? You're not looking ahead to Tech. No, you're taking care of business. And we're going to take care of business, getting our first look at Texas State on the other side of this break. But first, of course, I'm rocking the sunglasses today. You left me alone, which is okay.
I mean, you didn't tell me, man.
I feel a little salty.
You didn't
about
tell
that.
me.
I will always be wearing sunglasses on this show unless otherwise stated.
I mean, that was my thing.
Okay. Well, guess what? It got jacked because I love our friends over at Shady Rays so much. I just can't go an hour without wearing them. We got bright lights in here, got bright lights outside, also known as the sun. And the Shady Rays are there to protect your face and your eyes along the way. And if you don't believe me, why don't you believe 300,000 people who rated this 5 stars? Listen, they're durable. Crystal clear optics, polarized, different designs for whatever you want, whatever you need. A fantastic return policy, a broken and stolen policy. You can exchange worry free within 30 days, and that's a lot of wearing. You can really, really understand if you like your pair or not. That's just how much they care about you. And to add on to that, you can get a nice discount. Listen, for our listeners only, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Head to shadyrays.com. Use code PHNX for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try it for yourself. The shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people.
Look, Shady Rays, they have themselves a deal for all of our PHNX listeners. And over at Circle K, they always have deals, whether that be on sports drinks, whether that be on snacks. Quick count on what they got. Savory, salty, spicy, sweet,
hot, cold,
medium. They got it all over at Circle K, and they're going to help you save money on gas as well with their free membership program called Inner Circle. Save 25 cents per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups, and then save 3 cents per gallon every single day after that. Plus, there's plenty of other member-exclusive deals and discounts. It takes like 60 seconds to sign up for Inner Circle for a lifetime of deals.
It's too easy.
It really is. It really is. They're literally giving you free money over at Circle K. They're helping make your day a good one, guys. Join Inner Circle for free by downloading that Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit circlek.com for details. Mr. Ruby?
Mr. Totri?
Shall we get Dr. Rubis?
Justice?
Yeah. Captain Redbeard over there?
Oh,
Are we ready?
Captain.
We ready to get into Texas State?
Let's do it.
He's giving us permission. Let's get into
Aye,
it.
Captain.
Come on.
Look,
Fire me up, Kyle.
Texas State, we talked a little bit about it at the start of the show. This is a team that hasn't really played anybody. Lamar, they played UTSA. Sorry, guys. You guys aren't much of football programs. That's just the fact of the matter. It's the truth.
You leave Lamar alone.
Could you tell me right now where Lamar is located?
No.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Texas, but I don't know because it's Lamar. Come on now, guys. Look, when you talk about Lamar, we're talking about Lamar Jackson. We're not talking about Lamar University, okay? Look, Texas State, they're 2-0. Won week 1 against Lamar, 34-27. Then week 2 was an absolutely dominant performance over UTSA, 49-10. I believe that was at UTSA. Could be wrong, but I believe it was. Which is to win 39 points on the road, I think is crazy. But overall, if you look at Texas State, their offensive ranks as it stands in the Sun Belt right now, offensively, they're second in total yards, they're second in passing yards, third in rush yards, and second in points per game. Again, a team that can score when they want to, averaging 47.5 points per game. Don't expect Arizona State to give up 47 points to Texas State.
If they give up that many points, there's a problem.
Let's put something on the line. If they give up 47,
I love how you always rope me into this.
I mean, this is a team effort, man.
No.
This is a team effort.
Okay, I'll let you say it, then I'll tell you.
47 points. What do we have to do?
47 push-ups each on air.
That's silly. That's
I don't know. What do you want?
A G-rated podcast?
What do you want from
Come
me?
on, man.
What do you want me to say?
47 push-ups? Come on. Yeah,
bro,
man.
what do you want? What do you want me to do?
Let's see if somebody in the
Don't
chat.
ask me if you don't want the answers.
Let's see if somebody
pal.
in the chat. Don't pow me, buddy.
All right, Chief, calm
Okay,
down.
boss. We'll see if anybody in the chat.
While we're getting testy, you were wrong.
What was I wrong at? They were at home?
Yeah, they were at home.
Okay.
Yeah.
How
dare
There you go. There you go.
Listen,
47 neutrals.
47 neutrals is crazy. But I might
47 neutrals
24 hours
over the
straight.
week. Over the week.
No, I
over
might
the week.
need
over the week.
I might need 47 neutrals. If
Let's do it. Let's do it. Over the week, if Arizona State gives up 47 points, we have to, throughout the week, drink
Just on the show?
Just
or like,
on the show.
We have to drink 47
Total.
That's almost 10. Okay, so not 47 each.
It'd be
We are
24 and 23
Okay.
through the week.
Okay. Over 5 shows.
Over 5 shows.
That's basically 5.
That's
shows.
fair. That's a good deal. Good deal.
That's fair.
Let's do
Fair.
it.
That's fair.
Chat.
Chat, shake our hand, chat.
Chad Johnson, 47 shots on air. That's not happening.
Unless we're talking free throws.
You will have to take me to the hospital for 47 shots. Defensively, though, the Bobcats, their defensive ranks in the Sun Belt. 6th in total yards allowed, 10th in passing yards allowed, so not a very good passing defense. They are, however, 1st in rush yards allowed. It's a good rush defense.
That's what I was talking about earlier when I said that their strength on defense matches up with Arizona State's strength on offense. It's going to be a really good test for Sam.
It is. It is going to be a good test for Sam. I still think Scat's going to get his.
Of course.
Because Scat gets his.
Why did I sound like
there's
that?
no tape on Raleek Brown from this season.
No.
I would be shocked if Arizona State didn't try and use Raleek Brown in some very, very unique ways this week.
You don't even have a ton of Kyson Brown film.
No, not really.
I mean,
not really.
It's after yesterday. I'm like Kenny. I haven't slept either.
They are 5th, however, in points per game allowed as a defense. Again, take that all with a grain of salt based off of their opponents that they've played thus far. You can still be a good team and play bad opponents, right?
And they won. I mean, 34-27 over Lamar's tough. That's week 1. But 49-10 is a big win.
Yeah.
It's a big win. That's not something you can just be like, oh, they played UTSA and it went down to the wire. No, they dominated.
Yeah, they absolutely did. Part of it was, of course, because of their senior quarterback, Jordan McLeod.
Great name.
It is a great name. He's been in college football a long time.
Been at U of A?
Yeah. He's been in college football since 2019.
He's the enemy.
Since 2019, dog. Don't say get
That's
a job. He's a senior.
I mean, he still does need to get a job.
I mean, sure.
Well, actually,
he's fine.
yeah.
He's fine. This is his last.
He's like
this
on
is
the border.
He's on the border.
If he's back next year,
applications need to be out soon.
if he's back next year, I need you selling insurance, pal.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Infamous front runner, Texas State has a bunch of good players that couldn't get in because of grades. Beware. Again, you got to take it all with a grain of salt. Jordan McLeod completed 68.5% of his passes thus far in the season. 5 touchdowns, 2 INTs. Numbers don't really go too crazy. The ground attack is definitely interesting to keep an eye on. Really a two-headed monster. Ishmael Mahdi and Lincoln Pear, both shorter backs, but they similar to a Raleek Brown and Cam Skattebo. They're difficult to bring down for a variety of reasons. They're shifty. They're quick. Because of their pad level, it is difficult to tackle those guys. So definitely beware of them. However, I do feel pretty confident that Arizona State's defensive line is going to be able to take care of Texas State's. So that should be, I think, a focal point for Arizona State, something that helps them get the job done. Continuing with the offense, the receiving threats are interesting, and I want to get your 2 cents on it because you had brought it up a little bit earlier, just talking about Mississippi State and kind of equating it. They've got their top 4 receiving threats. Chris Don Jr., he's 5'7", $160. Joey Hobart, 5'11", $180. Jaden Williams, 5'9", 185. He's a Boston College transfer. And then Cole Wilson, 5'9", $170.
Tiny guys.
Watch it.
Tiny. So small you can barely see them.
Watch it.
Just pick them up and so tiny.
Okay. They are not traditional size Division I wide receivers. Normally when you see a team, they'll have 1 or 2 of these guys, right? As shifty, they're quick, they move. It's rare you see a team whose their top 4 threats on offense are all below 6 feet.
Shout out to the Arizona Cardinals from last year. No, it's It's not worrying, obviously. Like you have the size advantage, but what did we say about when ASU played the SEC? An SEC
Doesn't
team?
mean nothing if you don't
Right?
do nothing with it.
You do nothing with it, right? And listen, I do think that one of the things that we saw from Mississippi State's game, this team doesn't necessarily have a problem with big bruising bodies on either side of the ball. A little bit more of a problem with speed. And I use the term problem loosely, but obviously that Kevin Coleman 80-yard touchdown,
Dude's quick.
broke one tackle from Ghost, and nobody could catch him.
Yeah.
He was gone. And obviously he's bigger. He's really fast. He would be the best player on Texas State if he was on Texas State. Best player on Mississippi State. But the only thing I'm worried about are, they're just too fast and they can kind of take advantage and they make it a slog and they stop the run game. I don't think all of those things happen. But if Texas State were to win, if you say what would have to happen in order for Texas State to win, muck up the run game, which they have the best run defense in their conference, right? And then use your speed on offense to evade tackles, put some points up on the board.
Yeah.
That's the recipe for Texas State. Sometimes recipes don't taste good. You know,
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
That's
you
fair.
You can do everything right. Still doesn't turn out in the end. And that's what we're hoping for and what might happen. But of course, we're gonna get into that.
Yeah, no,
All throughout
absolutely.
the
We're
week.
going to spend, obviously, the next
next
few
2
days,
days, yeah.
locked and loaded. We're going to be talking and doing a full deep dive on Texas State throughout tomorrow's show. So definitely be locked in.
We have
What do we have?
some breaking news.
Is it breaking?
10 minutes ago from Sun Devil football.
Okay.
I don't know if this is a real thing or if they're making this up, but they made a graphic for it. CJ fight. #thick6. That's not in the tweet. I added that. Named the Big 12 Conference's Beef of the Week.
Wow.
Is that a thing?
I think it is. I think it is a thing.
Well, shout out to CJ Fight.
Shout out CJ Fight.
Big 12's Beef of the Week, Cam. Big 12's Offensive Player of the Week, AP Player of the Week.
National
AP
player.
I mean, put
some respect.
put the world on notice.
Name, man. Put some
How
respect
about
on the
everybody
name.
starts looking at Arizona State? And one last thing about the whole Texas State thing. Big part of the first 2 games for ASU is it's a huge recruiting tool to see the fans show up and the wins. Texas to Tempe is a very real thing.
Yeah, it is.
And 2 games in Texas is a pretty big deal for you to make a statement.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind as well.
Take care of business, just like we do, just like you all are. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, drop a 5-star review. Again, this is just a Victory Monday. Tomorrow's show, which is going to be Tuesday, we are absolutely locked and loaded on breaking down Texas State, keys to victory, how Arizona State can get to 3-0 for the first time in a minute, guys. But we appreciate everybody hopping in, watching live, listening on audio. We really do appreciate you. If you enjoyed the content, give us a follow at PHNX _Sun Devils. You can follow me at Anthony _Totri. You can follow NF here at Erik.
I don't like
Ruby.
that one.
That is
I
Erik
don't like
with
that
AK.
one.
You can follow Captain Redbeard behind the Mac at K Coop Sports. And normally I get you out of here quickly, but I do want to tease that Erik and I recorded a 35-minute interview today. An absolute heater. Absolute heater.
I still can't believe we got to talk to them.
Yeah.
I genuinely,
for almost 40 minutes.
I had people come up to me afterwards in the office. They're like, how that happened?
Yeah. You guys are going to want to see it. We are definitely going to keep that in our back pocket. So be on the lookout.
Diehards will know first.
Make sure you are subscribed on YouTube, PHNX Sports, guys. As always, go Devils. In peace.
We all silly like the mayor.